Mr. May, I don't know if Commissioner Whitman had contacted you, but he was traveling today, so I think he was going to attempt to join us maybe a little bit late, but I don't know if he'll be able to accomplish that or not, so.
Yeah, I talked to him Monday.
Okay.
Late Monday morning. He said, I'm leaving Wednesday. My goal is to get down there and be in attendance. And I said, okay, however you work it out,
Okay.
we'll work with you.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him yet this evening, so.
Okay. Well, if it's raining, he may have got caught in some weather there too.
That is possible, yes.
Nice background, Commissioner Wiki.
It is chilly out here.
You and Commissioner Good need to get in the same picture. Okay. Commissioner-wise, I think the only one I think we're missing, Andrew, is Commissioner Littman. Am I correct?
That, let's see.
Commissioner Wiki, Malone, Mullins, John Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I get like 30 seconds, Bob, Andrew?
Hi.
Can I get like 30 seconds before you start?
Did you hear that, Mr. Mayor?
What was that?
I just need like a minute before we start, okay?
Yes.
Here, okay, thanks.
Okay.
I just need like a minute before we start, okay?
Sure.
Here, okay, thanks.
Okay.
I just need like a minute before we start, okay?
Well, if he's going to play that in a continuous loop, this will never get started.
I think that was me. I was checking the YouTube stream and it wasn't muted, so I apologize for that.
That's back here. That's my one right there. Okay, we'll wait for Commissioner Klinger.
No, guys.
Okay, Commissioner Klinger is back. I'm going to call this meeting, our first meeting of the new year to order, and welcome you all, and hopefully you all had a good, safe New Year's Eve on this. Can we all stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
allegiance
Allegiance
to
to
the flag
the
United
United States of America,
America,
to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty.
liberty and justice for
Justice
all.
liberty.
All right, thank you. Andrew, do you want to make the announcement, because we are doing this Zoom meeting, what the parameters are? We've done this so many times, or do you think we're okay, or do you want to make a short note?
I will just make a very short note to anybody who's watching via the YouTube stream. The YouTube stream does not allow for public participation. Anyone who wishes to participate publicly can do so via the Zoom link, which is on our Facebook page. I see only one media member with us on the Zoom meeting tonight. So if you do wish to make public comment, please come via the Zoom meeting and we will go from there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. And with that being said, I would like to welcome Pastor Larry Matro from Trinity Lutheran Church. He is the pastor tonight who's going to give us provide our invocation this evening. Pastor Matro, thank you.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year. I don't know if we're tired of saying that, but hey, Happy New Year. Bible verse that maybe guide the beginning of our year, Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. Keep your life free from the love of money and be content with what you have, for God has said, never will I leave you or forsake you. A little story. A stonecutter once delivered a slab of stone to a merchant. Seeing all his wonderful goods, he said, I wish I was a merchant and had such things. In the twinkling of an eye, his wish was granted. Then one day he saw a parade pass his store window. He saw a prince pass by in splendor and said, I wish I was a prince. And immediately he became a prince. Until the day the hot sun beat down upon him, and he said, I wish I was the sun, greater than any man. And he became the sun and was happy. Until a cloud came between him and the earth. He said, that cloud overshadows me. I wish I was a cloud. Again his wish was granted. He rained down on the earth to his heart's content until he came to a mountain, which wouldn't let him pass. He said, that mountain is greater than I. I wish I was a mountain. Instantly he became a mountain, and he thought, now I am the greatest of all. But one day a little man climbed up the mountain and with a hammer and chisel began to tap away at it. The mountain, unable to stop him, said, that little man is greater than I. I wish I was a man who cut stone. Once again his wish was granted, and he became a stone cutter. He lived a long and useful life, and everyone marveled at how happy he was. So what's the point? All of you have gifts, talents, abilities, maybe not the same as the guy in one of the other Hollywood squares here, but you all have something to contribute to the work that you are to do on the city commission, especially as you use your gifts together. May you be a blessing to our city. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we begin this new year, we do so with much hope and perhaps with a bit of fear and caution. We want to make plans and serve our community, yet we're not sure if and how we can do given the status of the pandemic and other things are beyond our control. So I pray on their behalf that you would give them wisdom and courage, integrity, and a sense of joy too, as they go about fulfilling the offices to which they have been called and appointed, or elected and appointed. Thank you for the vaccine, and we pray that its distribution to our community would happen soon and elsewhere, and that would bring the added relief that many of us are looking for. Until then, help keep our community safe, help us to be wise, and keep us from the serious ill effects of this virus. Thank you for the freedom to meet and to do things like this, especially for the freedom that we enjoy as Americans. May we never take it for granted or think of it of little value. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you very much for the invocation. The next item on, I will just let you know that Jeff just texted me his computer went down and he's out to get it. He ran to get another cord. I think it's in the house someplace. He will be rejoining with us. So the vice mayor will be back here in a few minutes once he gets his computer running again. Roll call, please, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And if you would just ask Jeff when he gets back in, maybe just to announce himself that he's back in the meeting, and that way we'll know what time he did that.
Okay.
Commissioner Burr.
Here.
Commissioner Klinger.
Here.
Commissioner Wickie.
Here.
Commissioner Malone.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Littman. Is Skip not here?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Commissioner Good.
Present.
And I think we have Vice Mayor Mullins. Almost.
I see this, he's almost here. There he is.
He's connecting to audio. Vice Mayor Mullins, you here?
I am present. Sorry
Okay,
about
great.
that.
All right. 'cause I was
That's
just
all
gonna
right.
send you
And
a
Mayor
text.
Heil.
And I am present also. I was just getting ready to send you a text, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry. My apologies, guys.
All right. So we're all here. Thank you very much for roll call. The next item on our agenda is the proclamations presentations, and I have a resolution to read. And as you will look at your screen, you can see that Aaron Miller, our former Michigan State representative, has joined us, and I have a resolution to read to you, sir. And it goes as this. Whereas Aaron Miller, a Sturgis native who graduated from Sturgis High School in 2006 and Western Michigan University in 2010, was elected to serve the 59th District in the Michigan House of Representatives in 2014, 2016, and 2018 for the constitutional maximum of 3 terms. And whereas during his time in office, Representative Miller made service to his constituents, including residents of the city of Sturgis, St. Joe County, and all those in the 59th District, a top priority. And whereas Representative Miller was always willing to meet, listen, and learn about constituents' concerns and issues. And whereas Representative Miller helped pass notable legislation making water withdrawal based on more science, established the first ever state dark sky preserve on county property at Lawless Park in Cass County, protecting the mental health counselor profession, and passing auto insurance reform. And whereas Representative Miller served the legislation in many committees and leadership positions over his time in office, including as chair of the House Elections and Ethics Committee, as majority vice chair on the House Appropriations Committee, as chair of the School Aid Subcommittee, the Michigan State Police Subcommittee, the Department of Education Subcommittee, and the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs Subcommittee, as well as a member of the Transportation Subcommittee. And whereas Representative Miller always made himself available to the city of Sturgis regarding issues of impact to our local government. And whereas Representative Miller's final term in office ended on January 1st, 2021. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Sturgis would like to thank Representative Aaron Miller for his commitment to public service and contributions to the City of Sturgis, St. Joseph County, and the residents of the 59th District during his 3 terms of service in the Michigan House of Representatives. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. It's a great honor, and I really appreciate. I have to say I was focused on new things and where I'm at now, and getting the text from City Manager Mr. Hughes was a pleasant surprise, and I just want to say it's a great honor to be honored by the City Commission in my hometown. Nothing has brought me greater pleasure over the last 6 years than simply helping people at the level they're at. And all the things you read, Mayor Heil, are the things that I have tried to do steadfastly. We learn in life, I think, enough that it's the small things that count. And that's what we ought to focus on. But I think sometimes in our adult lives, we lose that. And it really is the small things, the little times serving each and every individual. Those are the things that count. It's not the legislation. It's not the big meetings up in Lansing. It's right here at home helping people. And I can't say enough how proud I am to have been able to represent my home for the last 6 years. Thank you to the City Commission and to everybody watching. I appreciate all of your service, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. And if I may be so bold, I'll tell you, Aaron, that I'm ending my tenure as a commissioner in a couple of years. So if you want something to do for the city, Commissioner at Large seat might be available.
I'll think about that, Commissioner Good, and I know a few city residents, and I know I may be interested too. We will see all in good time. And thank you for your service.
All
My
right.
pleasure.
Andrew, can we go back to the other screen, please?
That's that's a view setting for you, Mr. Mayor.
All
Sorry.
right.
Should be up
There
at
we
the
Gallery, I see it. Okay, got it. Oops. There's what I want. Thank you. All right, I'm back with you. The next item on our agenda is our visitor section. Andrew, is there any would you check to see if there's any visitors who have a comment or something to bring in front of the commission that is not on our agenda?
Sure. So we do have a couple of people who have joined as call-in listeners on the Zoom meeting. If you wish to make a public comment at this time for an item that is not listed on tonight's agenda, you can use *9 to raise your hand and I will recognize you for public comment. I do have one, Mr. Mayor. Telephone number 269-651-3418. And I will ask you to unmute your phone. And you can make your public comment. That should be *6. All right, you are unmuted and you can go ahead and make your public comment at this time. Please identify yourself.
Yeah, identify yourself, please.
Hello, all rights reserved, UCC 1-308, UCC 1-103.6, care of General Post Office, Centerville, Desure, Michigan. Andrew Hans of the House of Brandt in my private capacity. Just sent another 5-page scanned document to electric reliability at sturgismichigan.gov about the petition to stop any new high voltage transmission lines through Sherman Township. 60 some authorized people in Sherman Township along all 6 of those routes, still gathering authorizations. There will be many more, and I just want to keep you folks abreast of the fact that we do not consent as of December 14th, 2020, to any of the 6 routes. We do not consent. We do not consent. We didn't consent 2 years ago at Glen Oaks, and we don't consent with this easement company, and we will not consent. And we did this in our private capacity. We did not do this as residents. We did not do this as citizens. We did not do this as individuals, as human beings, as persons, as Homo sapiens. We did this in our private capacity, not public. So we do not consent, and I want you to know that, and I've spoken with Ken Rhodes, and I left him a message today, the clerk, about getting in touch with him regarding oaths of office of all public officials on the city commission. Haven't heard back from him. And I also requested a copy of the original corporate charter of Sturgis Electric and City of Sturgis, and I haven't heard back on that. And so I will continue to pursue getting in contact with Ken Rhodes, the Sturgis City Clerk, in regards to that information. I have been speaking with the Sherman Township Clerk, Frank Iannarelli, and he got copies of the oaths of office of the Sherman Township Board for me, and he's working on getting a copy of the Sherman Township corporate charter with the Office of the Great Seal in Michigan, and I hope that that will expediently come forth. He's been told that could be as much as 3 weeks due to whatever they're doing with COVID in Michigan. So at that point, I just want to let folks know that probably 8 out of 10 households that I've been visiting with, they don't want this, and they're authorizing this. I hope in a future meeting to have a map so you can see all the people along these 6 routes who rejected this visually with your own eyes. They don't want communications associated with this. They don't want 5G. They don't want 30 to 60 foot easements. They don't want 67, 68, 69,000 volts. They don't want it. So I yield for questions or comments.
Mr. Mayor, I thank you for your calling in and your concern.
I'm not a mister. I'm
Oh,
not a mister. I'm Andrew.
Okay, Andrew, thank you very much for calling in and giving us this information. Very much, we'll take it under advisement and review what you had talked to us about with the powers to be. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other folks that would like to bring something to the commission that's not on our agenda?
If there's anyone else who has an item that they wish to make public comment on that is not on tonight's agenda, you can also use the raise hand feature if you're calling in via phone. That is *9 to raise your hand, and I will recognize you for public comment. See no further public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. With that being said, I will take a motion to approve our agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that the commission approve the agenda for Wednesday, January 13th, 2021 as presented.
I have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have support?
Support.
Commissioner Burr.
Commissioner Burr, I have support by Commissioner Burr. Mr. Rhodes, roll call, please.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman, Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. On that, I will also take a motion to approve our consent agenda for tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move that the commission approve the consent agenda for Wednesday, January 13th, 2021 as presented.
I have a motion by Commissioner Good to approve the consent agenda. Do I have support?
Support by Commissioner.
Support.
Which I think, was that Mr. Burr? Did you
No.
support?
I think that was Commissioner Klinger.
All right, Commissioner Klinger supported the motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman, Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you very much, Commission. The next item on our agenda is unfinished business. Seeing none, we will move to the new business on our agenda. And the first item on our agenda is rezoning of 118 and 120 South Monroe Street. Will Pritchard. Will, there you are. Will. He's talking, but we can't hear him.
Yeah, that's.
How about now?
There we go.
All right. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, thank you, commissioners. So this is the first reading for a zoning district change for 118 and 120 South Monroe, which are the two highlighted squares. The request is made by the owner, Jamie Kreitz. The request is to change it from central business to residential 4 zoning district. Currently, 118 South Monroe is used for a business, and the owner would like to change that back to a single family dwelling unit. 120 South Monroe, which is here, is currently a duplex, which is a registered rental with the city, and we do the inspections on that. Future land use for this area is central business. Obviously, the property at 118 was previously a residential, which was converted or used as a business, and now the owner would like to bring it back and then continue the use for the duplex at 120. The Planning Commission did have a public hearing at their December 15th meeting and recommended to the City Commission to approve the rezoning. I'd be happy to answer any questions on this topic.
All right. Are there, again, Andrew, help me out here. Are there any questions from the commission on this topic?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I don't have a question, but I will make a comment or two if I may.
You may. I recognize Commissioner Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may have noticed on the map, there was a little green rectangle there as well. That green rectangle is my domicile. And I was at the Planning Commission meeting to express my opinions with regard to a conversion to R4. R4 is not only for residential purposes, but up to medium density, if I'm not mistaken. And so I was concerned that the amount of square footage that were in both of those buildings might allow for the increase of the number of residential spaces that were there. However, I was assured by Mr. Kreitz that it would remain a duplex and a single family dwelling. And so that allayed my concerns. I just hope that if there are some future developments that might increase the number of residences within either of those properties, that I might have an opportunity to have input. The other thing that Will didn't indicate there, if you look at that map, there was the property that's immediately south of me. It's a blue square, I believe, isn't it? Yeah, that one is still what, Business Highway or Business Highway 2. And so I think he's going to proceed to contact those individuals and see if we can bring that single property into the fold. The reason being that now that brown section, that's all R4. So those two red squares would then conform to all those properties that are surrounding it. And we'd like to bring that blue one into that same brown picture, but my green is hopefully going to stay where it is. So anyway, that's because I am so close to that, I wanted to comment that I was maybe placated is not the right word, but anyway, my fears were allayed by Mr. Kreitz, and I don't think there's any real issue making that an R4. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the time.
Thank you, Commissioner Good.
If I could add something else?
Yes.
At the same meeting that was discussed, that we're going to take back to the Planning Commission and look at the rest of this R4 area and see about, the possibility of transitioning into an R3. So we're going to look at the current uses of those buildings and make sure the zoning district is correct in this area. So basically we're looking at south of Monroe, north of Congress, and basically south of Chicago Road. We're gonna just kind of do a little work session at the next Planning Commission and kind of look at that area. So, and that would clean up that blue area is BH1 right below Commissioner Good. So
thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other questions for Will on this topic subject?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Burr has his hand raised.
Thank you. Commissioner Burr.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Will, I didn't realize that all those areas were zoned R4. I thought there were some 3s in there too. Is a duplex allowed? I believe we've allowed duplexes to be built in R3s now, right?
That is correct, as a special land use.
Okay, so could we not move these two houses in as R3s. If it's going to be a single dwelling or a single owner dwelling located at 118 and 120 is basically considered an R3 too. Can't they both be considered R3s?
I think that's the goal we would have by looking at this whole area as a whole to try to clean it up and maybe transition the entire area into an R3. But we want to look at to make sure it's consistent with what the uses are that's being, that the residences are. So if there's more than a single family or a two family there, we don't want to throw them into a non-conforming status. So the thought was to put it through as an R4 and then reevaluate it at the next meeting. And if the planning commission at that time decides to move it into an R3 or several properties or to rezone that BH1 to a R3 or R4, we would kind of do a group rezoning at the next planning commission or a public hearing at the next planning commission to discuss.
So then that would override what we decide tonight.
Right, it would just continue the changing process. So right now we would go R4 and then the process here would be try to transition the entire area over to R3, but not knowing what the uses are, we'll evaluate that and move forward at that time.
I know there's a few houses on 4th that are businesses too. I think there's 2 of them down 4th Street. At least 2, maybe 3. So will that affect that, trying to put that into an R3 category?
It could potentially, yes. So that's where we'll have to, I think, look at the map and try to, we have laid out now what's currently there. So if it's single family, 2 family, multifamily, if it's a commercial business, if it's an apartment complex, to try to evaluate if we just want to leave a strip of R4 in there to kind of cover those areas and turn the remaining to R3. That would be what I would think we would end up proposing.
Okay. Well, I know you've worked hard. Everyone's worked hard on the zoning plans for the future, and I'd like to kind of stick with them. But I'm also aware that they border the residential. So based on your discretion, I guess I would approve that move myself also. Thank you, Will.
I'll quick show you what we put together just so you're aware.
Okay.
What we just asked. So you see the new map which says single family, 2 family, or SFTF.
Right.
So this year's kind of what we put together so you have an idea of what's there now. And the transitioning, if we would have non-conforming properties. So some people don't realize what's actually there until you put it on a drawing like this. So I think ultimately we would look at, transitioning some of this area into R3 and trying to protect some of the others into the R4 to keep them conforming.
Okay. Thank you, Will.
Sure. Excuse me. Okay, any other questions from our commission on this topic? Hearing none from Andrew and John, are you waving at me?
Yes, I was, because I forgot what the buttons to push to get my hand raised.
Yes, Commissioner, good. That's fine, as long as I see it.
At any rate, where was I going there? I got confused. If we allow this to go to R4, by moving forward, even though the planning department's looking at a change to R3, I think one of the things that faces Jamie is that he's sitting on a building there that he can't utilize. The former office space at 118 can't be utilized as a residential property until the rezoning takes effect. So I think it's prudent for us to at least proceed with the rezoning and then allow the planning department to clear up that zone. And so if there aren't any other objections, I'd move that the Sturgis City Commission consider this the first reading of an amendment to the zoning code, Article 3, pertaining to rezoning of 118 South Monroe and 120 South Monroe Street from central business BC zoning district to residential R4 zoning district as presented.
Before I take a second, I want to ask if there's anybody in the public that's on listening to us has any questions. Andrew.
For anyone in the public who wishes to make public comment on this agenda item, you can use the raise hand feature if you're dialing in via phone. Once again, that's *9 to raise your hand, and I'll recognize you for public comment. I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. I have a motion by Commissioner Good to accept this first reading. Do I have support?
Second, support by Commissioner Klinger.
And I have support by Commissioner Klinger. Roll call, please, Mr. Rhodes.
Commissioner Lippman, Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith. We may have lost Commissioner Smith for the moment. Okay.
Looks like we've lost him.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Klinger
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the fire department aerial apparatus bid. Public Safety Director, Ryan Zanzik. Ryan.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. In your packet this evening is a short write-up along with some bid specification overview for what we're asking for this evening, which is your approval to move forward with sending out bids, looking at the purchase of a potentially new fire aerial apparatus in fiscal year 2021-2022. So us coming to you tonight asking for approval to move forward with the bidding process is a little outside the normal process. Normally, when you approve the budget, that's kind of considered the okay for us to move with the bidding process. Like I said before, the proposed budget for fiscal year 2021-2022 includes, we're proposing the purchase of a new aerial as recommended by the Motor Vehicle Committee. Due to the lengthy time that it takes to work through this process, including 12 to 14 months to build a new fire truck, we're coming to you with this information a little earlier than the normal October date. Looking back, historically, the City of Sturgis Fire Department has had a ladder of some kind, whether it's a true ladder truck or an aerial platform apparatus in its fleet since 1942, when the city purchased an American LaFrance 65-foot ladder truck. The American LaFrance was replaced in 1979 with a Mack ladder truck that was a predecessor to our current vehicle, which is a 2000 Pierce 95-foot mid-mount aerial. As with all firefighting equipment, ladder trucks have evolved over the years and now offer additional capabilities to not only greatly increase firefighter safety, but also provide additional life-saving features. The City of Sturgis includes multiple buildings in town with 2 or more stories, including factories, schools, and residential and commercial buildings. The need for proper safe equipment to reach these heights during an emergency is imperative to mitigate risk to lives and property. So like I said, our current apparatus is a 2000 95-foot Pierce mid-mount that was purchased as a demo unit in December of 2001. This unit has been extremely reliable over the last 20 years, but as with any vehicle, 20 years of service takes its toll on it. And we're starting to experience more and more repairs and more out of service time from this vehicle. Since 2017, our current truck has been in repairs for 11 times for a variety of issues, including repairs to the waterway, fuel injectors, multiple hydraulic leaks. Looking at replacing this vehicle at the time planned and we're proposing not only diminishes our risk for significant out of service time, costly repairs, and increased risk of failure on emergency scene, but also represents a fiscally prudent approach moving forward. One of the things that we've talked about as we've worked on this project and looked at it, Deputy Director Strudwick and myself over the past year, has been really when is the best time to move forward with the planning of this. One of the things to consider is that our current truck came with a 20-year ladder warranty. So as most of you have seen our truck, the biggest and most expensive part of it is the actual ladder and platform on the rear of it. With a 20-year ladder warranty, if it were to fail inspection or anything like that, that would be replaced by Pierce. That ladder warranty expires in December of 2021. MIOSHA and the NFPA require that every year all of our trucks are inspected for their intended use. That inspection process is pretty in-depth, especially for our ladder truck. The inspection includes load testing, where they will extend the ladder fully out. They will pick up a 1,000-pound weight, and they will hold it at 15 degrees for 5 minutes. What they're looking for is flexion in the ladder. Does it still meet the original specifications? They'll do a drift test on that ladder. They'll put it fully straight up 95 feet, and they'll let it sit for 30 to 45 minutes. They look to see if the hydraulics are leaking down. Is it twisting? And that's how they test the hydraulics. They'll do a visual inspection of all the welds and cabling, and do a speed test, and they'll do a water weight test. So that's done every year in May to June. So if we were to fail inspection at this point, after this year, after December of 2021, those repairs to that ladder would be fully on our shoulders. The repairs, if it were to fail in structural integrity, whether that be a cracked weld that can't be repaired, a weakening of the steel, for whatever reason, the repair cost estimated by our mechanic of McDonald's in Kalamazoo was anywhere between $750,000 and $1 million to repair just the ladder. The other side of this is that we looked at resale value. What are current trucks selling for that are similar in year and make to ours, both now and what we project it to be if we were to hold on to it for a couple more years. Currently, looking at the market, the resale value is anywhere between $100,000 and $250,000. If the ladder were to fail inspection and we were to not repair it and look to replace it at that point, the resale value would be about scrap value because it's really not a usable truck at that point. If we were to hold on to it, nothing went wrong, and we're to sell it in 3 to 4 years. Once we reach the 25-year point, it falls out of NFPA compliance, which would then take the value of the truck again down to near scrap value. So by looking at moving this at the 20-year point, we not only minimize our risk for potential extraordinary repair costs, but also maximize our potential resale value in this. Some of the issues we've seen, and I talked about briefly so far with this truck, are hydraulic leaks, some engine issues. We're starting to see corrosion underneath the vehicle, both in wiring harnesses, on our stabilizers. We're starting to have air brake issues, things that you would come to expect out of a 20-year-old vehicle that lives in Michigan and is exposed to salt and corrosives throughout the year. So today we're coming to you asking for permission to move forward with submitting or sending out bids to potential manufacturers. To this point, we have worked with Dennis Hetman, the city mechanic, to get his input on some specifications, as well as have looked at numerous manufacturers to see what's available out there now. Included in your packet is a bid specification highlight sheet. It talks about some of the major features that we are looking at. As we work through finalizing our bid spec sheets, it's much more exhaustive than this, but this was kind of a highlight. I didn't want to get too far, take you through all 30 pages at this point. So that's where we're at. Looking for your approval to move forward with the bid process and sending out bid to get more information on these. I'll take any questions you have at this point.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. And I see Commissioner Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You mentioned the resale value anywhere from 100 to 200 grand. And, I'm interested in whether or not you can get 100 to 200 grand out of warranty aerial. If it's out of warranty, am I going to spend 100 to 200 grand on it, and the next year it doesn't pass the test? Or I've only got 5 years left out of it because by 2025 it's NFPA is going to toss it. So I think that's a pretty ambitious resale value at the current time, but that's really not the issue here. I think that the issue is, are we going to proceed with a new aerial truck? And if the repairs, you're talking the repairs could be up to $1 million, do you have any concept of what a new aerial is going to cost? I mean, just sticking your nose into the manufacturers out there now.
Right. So we've looked at, I guess I'll address a couple of those issues. The resale value, there is some resale value. You bring up a very good point about the vehicle being, or the ladder being out of warranty. There are some departments out there who maybe don't have the means to purchase a new truck, or even one that is in compliance or within warranty. So they're willing to take that risk in hopes of a good outcome for a vehicle that it may not otherwise be able to have. So the cost, we've looked at multiple manufacturers, and the cost can vary. We're a little bit limited in what we can even look at based off of our building design. Being an older building, we have smaller overhead doors, which limits what we can even look at, because some of the vehicles, especially rear mount, what you'd be called rear mount ladder trucks or rear mount platforms, sit substantially higher. So they're not even an option for us, because they won't come even close to fitting in our building. What we've seen is cost anywhere between about 1.2 and 1.5 million for a mid-mount 95 to 100 foot aerial platform. That's the ballpark that we've been looking at, and we're hearing back from manufacturers and other fire departments who have purchased similar apparatuses.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Before I get any further, Andy, Mr. Strudwick, would you like to add anything to what Ryan has talked about? Do you have any comments?
So far, no, sir. He's done a great job.
All right, thank you. I don't want to leave you out of this discussion. Any other questions from the commission?
Vice Mayor Mullins has his hand raised.
Vice Mayor Mullins.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. You?
Good, good. Hey, the specification sheet there that you guys have, I've just had some questions on what the specifications were. And I understand that you used a couple of different people for input on that. This is the same. Did I read that the ladder on this was going to be higher than the 95 foot that we currently have?
Correct. So we're asking for a 100 foot, which,
okay,
looking at trucks, you can still find some 95 foot, but a lot of manufacturers have gone to 100 foot as their kind of main offering.
Okay, well, I just was asking because we've had it since 1979. We've had a 95 foot. I wondered what the reason was for 5 more feet, I guess, but.
Right. So, yeah, so that's what a lot of manufacturers are making their main offering. One thing that I think it's important to note when we're talking about, especially height, we think 100 foot, and that's, get really anywhere. With our current 95 foot, it takes about everything we have to get to the top floor of Maple Towers, because we have to look at the setback of where we have to park the vehicle on the road and then reach. So while 100 foot seems extraordinarily high, when you consider in setbacks and some of those other things, it diminishes really the working height of the vehicle depending on where we can park and what our access is to the building.
Okay, so it's not that 100 was necessarily needed, it's just that that's kind of like the going thing now for 95ers to go into 100 anyway, so.
Yes.
My head was on the engine transmission, that kind of thing. I know that Dennis had some input as well as somebody else, I guess you had mentioned there. Is that equivalent to what we have now, or is that like more compared to what we have now in both of those aspects, or?
Yeah, so what we did when Andy and I, Deputy Director Strzok and myself, have started working through this process, we've really looked at a modern day equivalent in most aspects to what we have now. These are kind of the modern day equivalent offerings of what's in our current truck. And the Cummins X15 engine that Dennis had requested is known for long life and high idle time, which is something that we experience a lot of. So it's not necessarily more, it's just, the current offering or current equivalent to what's in our current truck.
So they're basically equivalent in all those
Yes.
other aspects? Okay.
Yep.
The other thing was on cost. I guess Commissioner Good already asked that, so give me a good idea, I guess, of a ballpark figure. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Mullins, or Vice Mayor Mullins. Any other comments or questions from the commission?
Commissioner Burr has his hand raised, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Burr.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Does this also come with a 20-year warranty, or can we get one for a 25-year warranty?
So we have, so in our bid specs, we've asked for a minimum of 20 years. In Andy and Deputy Director Strugwick's research, majority are sticking at that 20-year mark. There are a few manufacturers who offer 25-year ladder warranties, but most are offering a 20-year. So we asked for a minimum of 20 in our bid specifications.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, any other comments from the commission or questions from the commission?
See none, Mr. Mayor.
How about from our audience?
For those attending via the Zoom meeting, if you wish to make public comment on this agenda item, please use *9 to raise your hand if you're joining us via phone, or the raise your hand feature if you're not. I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. If there are no other questions for Ryan or Andy, what say the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I move the Sturgis City Commission approve the requested bid and a new aerial apparatus as presented.
Okay, I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Klinger. Do I have support?
Support.
Support.
I have support by Mr. Smith. And I know Commissioner Malone said support too, so we have double support. Roll call, please, Mr. Rhodes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman, Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you all. Ryan and Andy, thank you very much for your hard work. And then we look forward to what you bring back to us.
Hey, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Which now moves us to our next item on our agenda is commission and staff comments. Let's start here. I'll just start right at the top. Ryan, do you have any other comments?
Nothing else tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Andy, do you have any comments?
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Holly. Okay. Roger.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope you have a better day tomorrow down in Florida.
I have a 10:32 tea time. It'll be a good day no matter what.
Come on, really?
Will, any other comments?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Andrew, as always, thank you for doing what you do to get us through this meeting. Any comments?
No further comments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Rhodes.
You might have to go in the sand tomorrow, Roger. That's all.
All right. And City Manager Michael Hughes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Roger's that 10:32, so you can sleep in, and then
Boy, yeah, well, no, I get out and I run 5 miles every morning first.
Okay, well done, well done. Okay, I just have a couple things. I wanted to talk with the city commission about having a planning meeting in February. Of course, with each new year, we're in the process of project planning, and we have some other issues out there that I'd like to kind of take the time to discuss and get some direction back from the commission. So I'm proposing February 17th, which is an off Wednesday. I think we typically do those at 5:30. I can send out an agenda in advance. I'm hoping that date works. Does anybody have any conflicts?
That's Ash Wednesday. I don't know if that matters to anybody.
I have a 10:32 tea time.
And John, you're gonna get out and run 5 miles before that?
Absolutely.
All right. Do we have any conflicts with that, that date and that time that Michael's proposing for this planning meeting of the commission? It doesn't look like we have an issue with that, Michael.
Okay, very good. Just one other thing to mention, I'm sure you've heard, and I've provided some information. We are planning to have, I think, a very scaled back Winter Blues event on Friday. There's a handful of businesses that are going to participate. Of course, they'll have to follow the restrictions, and then we have a few ice sculptures so people can take a walk and look at them and stay safe. Still going through the information on the update from the governor on restrictions. It sounds like we can open up more activity at the Doyle. I believe we're planning to do that next Monday. And then I guess we're told that hopefully there'll be dine-in restaurant options beginning February 1st, but I don't think that is in stone. So I believe the easing restrictions are in regard to places like theaters, bowling alleys, arcades, fitness facilities, and so forth. So hopefully that's a positive trend and things will open back up. And then one last thing, and I've tried to keep you updated on what I know about the vaccine. I don't have any better information on when our employees might be receiving that. I'm paying attention to what's happening around the state, and both public safety personnel and then also critical infrastructure workers like linemen, public works employees. They've in other counties, they have started to receive the vaccine. So I'm hoping that will be available as an option for our employees soon. That's all. Thank you.
Michael, we'll start with the commissioners. We'll go down here. Again, I'm looking at my screen. Commissioner Burr.
Nothing tonight. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, there's a food truck at that thing on Friday night. What kind of food they got?
I believe that's Brew House. So they are well known for their fantastic barbecue. Hopefully I'm right, Andrew.
You are.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
The only thing better could be corn dogs.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Smith.
it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wiki.
I just got one thing. I had a constituent contact me about the west side of North Clay Street between McKee Street and Lafayette. It's in need of shoulder work. There's deep ditches on the right side there at the shoulder, and edges are starting to break away. It's fairly new paved, looks like. And with winter coming and salt trucks going through and scraping, there's a good chance that that whole side of the street could get broke up pretty good if we don't do something about the shoulder. That's it.
Commissioner Wiki, did you say Lafayette, between Lafayette and McKee?
Between Lafayette and McKee on
Okay.
North Clay.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Klinger. Nothing?
At least a couple of you Friday night, for Winter Blues. Always a nice week for our downtown to be open for everybody to check out, some music. I was curious about the ice sculptures. I mean, is there any information of where they're coming from, Andrew? Are they the same ones from Shipshewana?
I believe it's the University of Michigan ice sculpture team that is doing the carving for them. So
That sounds very cool. That's exciting. Other than that, just happy to see everybody's healthy. Hope everybody stays well.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Klinger. Commissioner Good.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. A couple things. One is the individual that is appearing before us in his private capacity. I'm just wondering, we're going to take it under advisement. Mr. Mayor, you indicated we were going to do that. I'd like to know a little bit more about this private citizen and just exactly what his objections are. He indicated he doesn't want any more high voltage, but he's already got high voltage going by his place. I don't know what the real beef is, but I'd like to learn more about that. And if Clerk Rhodes or Manager Hughes can share with me any of his correspondence, I'd appreciate that. And additionally, one other item, and I'm not trying to poke a hornet's nest here, but all of you know that I was opposed to the segment of the accessory buildings amendments to the zone or city code that restricted the ability to have a tarp or canvas structure. And I just wonder if clear plastic igloo is a accessory structure or not. If I were to try to take it literally, if it's a structure that's accessory to the present use of the building, it would be an accessory structure. And if I can sit in a plastic structure and have my dinner and a cold beer, I'm in a plastic and or tarp type accessory building. So I just want to throw that out there. I don't need any further discussion. I want everybody to just be aware that we do have plastic accessory structures in town. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Good. Mr. Will, would you like to try to answer that, or do you need to do some research?
The canopy and tarp-like structures are not allowed in a residential district. So therefore the BC is not a residential district. So tarp-like structure was allowed as a temporary structure during the COVID time, and they've worked through the fire department on that.
All right.
And how are they affected in a planned development district?
You want to put, in your district, I would believe that we would have to look at that.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Will. On it. Commissioner Mullins. Not Mullins, yeah, Commissioner, Vice Mayor Mullins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. The last meeting I had mentioned something about someone asking about year-round hoop houses in the city. I didn't know if that had any traction or it was going anywhere. Just wanted to mention that one more time. And before we leave here, I just want to say thank you to Andrew again for what you do with putting these meetings together, not only here, but Doyle and others that you do around town. You do a fantastic job of that. And Mike, finally, for you and staff for the proclamation for Representative Miller or ex-Representative Miller. It was kind, thoughtful, and well written. Thank you guys for that too.
That's private capacity, Aaron Miller.
All right.
Yeah, that too.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and Commissioner Malone.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I go to our last item agenda, I did get a text from Aaron Miller, and I'm basically going to just read it to you. And it says, "Thank you both once again," and it is addressed to Michael and me. Again, thank you both once again, both of you, and be sure to thank all of the commissioners. Once again, for me, it was an honor to be, my phone keeps blinking off, with us this evening. So again, he says, Mr. Aaron Miller sends thank you all to the commission. So I'm passing that word on to you. With that being said, I will take a motion to go into closed session.
Mr.
to
Mayor.
Talk about what? Oh,
Excuse me, before we get there, Commissioner Smith had his hand raised.
okay, Commissioner Smith.
Yes, in regards to what both Vice Mayor Mullins and Commissioner Good were saying, wouldn't the year-round hoop houses be a plastic covered building, accessory building?
Will?
I would think so. I would think so. I know we did have somebody use those a couple years ago, and they had issues with keeping the tarps together, and they would blow in the neighbors. So they're just a hoop that have a piece of plastic that goes over the top, and they're weighted down with rocks typically.
All right.
And we'll take a look at that. And maybe it's something, I'm trying to figure out the best way to kind of process that. I believe in the most recent master plan, there was discussion of kind of looking at, I think we call it urban farming, and how to maybe look at zoning to make that available. So maybe that's something that, the planning commission could make a priority to look at and make a recommendation to the city commission.
Just for the record too, I'm not opposed or against hoop houses. It's just something that was brought up and I brought to the attention of the commission.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing Andrew not shake his head or positive, I will take a motion to go into closed session for the reason of purchase of property.
So moved by Commissioner Klinger.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Klinger. Do I have support?
Support, Commissioner Burr.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Mr. Rhodes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman, Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes.
We're in closed session.
Okay, before we all move on, Andrew, do you want to explain real quick what we need to do here? Most of us probably know, but I'm gonna have you explain real quick.
Sure, just really briefly, you should have gotten a closed session Zoom meeting link from Mike this afternoon. Just exit out of this meeting like you normally would to leave the meeting. Open that link from Mike. That'll put you in the closed session. When we're done with closed session, we will exit out of that meeting and then return to this original link that you clicked on when we joined this meeting at the start. So
Thank you, Andrew.
thank you. Marv, you are still in this meeting.
Okay. Do we have everybody here? Okay. I think we're waiting for Commissioner Smith, I believe, and Andrew. There's Commissioner Smith. And there's Andrew.
And-
Okay, got everybody. I think we got everybody here, right, Andrew?
We do, I believe.
Open session.
Andrew Cook,
Yes, sir.
do you have the lot numbers for that?
I can have them in just a minute. Yep. Be lots 29 and 30.
Okay, because I think they ought to be part of the motion.
Okay. Good idea.
And so, Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to make that motion.
Would you please, Mr. Good?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that the city commission reject the offer made on lots 29 and 30 and counter with a full price counter offer at $5,000 per lot.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Good. Do I have support of his motion?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Smith. Roll call, please, Mr. Rhodes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Lippman, Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you very much for that. If there are no other comments, I am going to go ahead and close this meeting and wish you all a good evening. Any other comments? Are we just waving here? If not, we are closed. Thank you very much, commissioners and staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Thanks.